Well, hey there, idiots. Welcome back to Observe. If you're new here and you don't know why I just called you that, watch the video above. It'll help clear, well, everything up. Today we're talking about the vice presidential debates. Oh yeah. So, before we dive into the full meat of this video, I wanted to go ahead and give a quick thank you and shout out to this video's sponsor, which is Exter. Exter's in the business of making people's daily lives more or less easier. Their mission states that they design time-saving carry goods to make every day easier for us. To put it simply, they took a normal everyday wallet and reimagined it. They made it easier to use and harder to lose. From there, they decided that they needed to upgrade more carry essentials, as they call it, so folks have more time to focus on their lives. I've been using their flagship Parliament Smart Wallet for a while now, and I can actually confirm that it really is genuinely an excellent product. I'll sometimes catch myself absent-mindedly flipping the little trigger switch here that activates the cards. So it's a really, really cool wallet. I actually genuinely love this wallet. If you would like to be able to have one as well, you can use my link in the description below and the code EK, capital EK25 at checkout to be able to get 25% off of your order. So thank you to Exter once again for a very, very amazing product. And that brings us into today's video. So a lot of you have been asking me to be able to take a look and analyze the presidential and vice presidential debates. The presidential debates will be coming out later on after the other ones hopefully show up, but before it's election day so that we can kind of make the best educated decision possible. And if you were clicking on this video thinking to yourself, I bet the person that I'm going to vote for is right and truthful, and the person that I'm not going to vote for was lying and sneaky, then you're really wrong. Both of them, from the gate, started off by twisting truths and lying all the way around. So it's not really a matter of who was lying, but when each of them were lying. And it was pretty constant throughout. It's the classic political realm, which is why I don't ever mess with getting into it. But I was able to go through, and after spending days on this debate, analyzing it, figuring out points, I was able to establish what their tells are, their physical tells of deceit are. Now, those aren't universal, these are specific to them, and I'm going to show you what they look like and talk about them so that when you watch them in any future videos or footage from this point on, you can tell when Pence and Harris are going to be lying. Let's go ahead and take a look at Harris first and see what her tells of deceit are.
We saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year.
I'm going to go ahead and pause it here and make a couple things super clear to you watching this. This is not a political channel. I will never be a political channel. I feel like I should do some videos on the nonverbal communication of politicians because it's a very important aspect, and I think people should be as educated as possible. But if you're here and you're watching this and you have some strong political views, just don't hate on anybody else who doesn't have your political views. This isn't the place to do that. If you want to do that, there's plenty of other places on the internet. This is more for educational purposes and making sure that you're doing the most informed thing possible. So just behave. Be an adult. For those of you who are going to try to troll and whatnot, I'm going to do my best to be able to moderate the comment section just to make it as a productive comment section as possible. But this is going to be a nightmare, and let's get some things out of the way. Yes, there was a fly. No, I don't care. And yes, these assholes will not stop talking when their time is up. In case you're curious and you were watching the debates, when the moderator speaks up and says, hey, stop, it's not like it's catching them by surprise. They have a countdown timer facing them. in the back. It's a TV that has 2 minutes on the clock. They know exactly when they're supposed to end, and they choose not to. And both of these dicks decided that the moderator was just an optional thing to listen to, and they talked over a lot. I got extremely frustrated in this video, which is why I'm not doing a full reaction video. Also, it was 2 hours long, so what the hell. So let's go ahead and start seeing what Harris does during this time.
That is absolutely not true. That
Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back. And now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster.
This little segment encapsulates what Harris's nonverbal tells of deceit are. She does this thing where it's a change in verbiage. She'll refer to people by their names, Joe Biden, Trump, blah, blah, blah. But then as she's telling the truth, she'll switch into the normal pronouns of his, hers, she's, theirs, blah, 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 those kind of pronouns. When she's being more deceitful, she'll maintain that proper name basis. So when she goes through on this first thing and she says Joe Biden said he's not going to cut taxes, that part was genuine. They're not going to cut taxes. But then after that, she starts going into Joe Biden said he's very clear about fracking. That's not true. He wasn't very clear about fracking. His whole thing has changed on that dramatically throughout the time of his running. And so she'll do that. She also moves backwards non-verbally. She puts some space between her and kind of the words she's saying or the person asking the question. It's just a distancing thing. And then she'll start stuttering verbally as well. Now, these nonverbal tells can be seen across many, many different instances. I just know for a fact that on certain areas of provable deceit, they showed these tells repeatedly. So that makes it a reliable tell for future times. If you see these clusters of tells, then that's a fairly decent indication that she isn't telling the truth. Let's move on to Pence.
Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well. And President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American. But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts.
Okay. And that's enough of that one to be able to show his common tells of deceit. So what he does is similar to Harris in that he has verbal stuttering. Along with that, he does this really awkward, hard look down. It's a common flash of shame or expression of shame. Along with that, his gestures become desynchronized, which means that he'll do a gesture and then talk, and then it becomes this stilted, awkward feel. Now, I've got to be very clear. Both of these are trained political figures. They have received public speaking coaching. They know what they're doing. And you can see that specifically in a lot of gestures that they use with their hands, these sorts of gestures. So their nonverbal communication is going to be a lot more difficult to read. They're more controlled. And to be very fair, this debate was far more controlled than the presidential debate, which was an actual shit show, which I'll get to that. God, that was annoying for me. Just such a lack of respect and intelligence all the way around. But that's not this time. Pence has a very reserved style about him with his nonverbal communication. He's very flat-lined, more or less. His tone never really changes. His pitch will change at times, but nothing beyond the normal. And his expression stays more or less the same with a few exceptions. Harris is a lot more smiley and flamboyant with her gesturing, her tonal changes, her pitch changes, so on and so forth. That's just how they present themselves non-verbally. So yes, today was a little bit different of a video. I decided to go ahead and put the knowledge that I've found and that I've been able to research and unearth and put it into your hands. Now, from here on out, anytime that you see these two talking, keep your eye out for this cluster of tells. that I've told you about, and that will help let you know if they're being deceitful. That will help let you know when they're being deceitful, because like I said, everybody in this is a train wreck. I'm so sorry, but that's all that we're gonna say about this one. Now, I wanted to go ahead and give another shout out to the sponsor of this video, Extra. Thank you again for the amazing product. If you, the viewer, you who are watching this, want to be able to get a very nice, compact travel wallet or everyday wallet, I suggest these heavily. They also have some other products on their website as well. So using my link and the code EK25, you can get 25% off of their products. And I really, genuinely do suggest you go and do that. But, without further ado, that's all that I've got for the day. My name is Logan, and you have been oh so awesome, as you always are. And I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.